This podcast is a production of Digital and Creative Media Works. To help support us, head to dcm.works to find links to our other show notes, Patreon, and merch. Hey guys, welcome back to the Alpha Writers Podcast, official podcast of Digital and Creative Media Works. My name is David, DCM, creative director, lead writer, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Ben.
Hello.
And this week, Benjamin, we're back at it, because we
back
have to
with
watch
the classic.
another television program. This time it was shorter. And so this week I figured, because I'm in the spirit, I'm feeling it. We had a bad week last week, we had a bad week this week.
Yep.
I'm calling this the confusion of the Defenders. And I'm calling it the confusion because
It's a good way to put it, I think.
Because I think this show doesn't really know what it wants to be. It doesn't quite find what it wants to be. And then by the end of it, it's like three things at once, and one of them is good.
By the end of it, you're like, I don't hate it. I mean, 2 episodes in, I hated it.
It's so bad at the start, huh?
About 4 or 5 episodes in, I was like, okay, it's getting okay.
I wonder if it's just Stockholm Syndrome, though.
Yeah, it could just be by the end of it, you're just like, I like the Hand now. I think they're a cool villain.
You know what I think it is? And also, as always, if the name's in the title of the episode, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Man cave pillars off kilter, I'm sorry. There we go.
Jesus Christ, you really patting that pillow,
Patting that
David.
pillow. Very aggressively, actually, made it harder to move it. So I think one of the things that, to me, is interesting that was bad and interesting about the start is they didn't just put them together. They spent like 3 or 4 episodes faffing until everyone was in the same...
fucking around.
Because the best parts of the show were when they were together and they were... Luke Cage was saying, Iron Fist, you're dumb.
Like, I didn't mind the introduction sequences. I didn't mind, like...
But why wasn't that...
That should have all been the first episode.
Yeah,
It
and
should
then
just
at
gone
the end
out
of the first
way.
episode, they should have met each other.
Yeah.
And then been
The
like...
end of the first episode should have been, like, the end of, like, episode 3.
Yeah.
When they were in the Chinese place.
Because, boy, there was
Like,
some
they
good
should
shit.
have... they really should have powered through that faster
Every
than they did.
scene where Luke Cage put Iron Fist down a peg was great.
Oh, I loved it.
Every scene where Charlie Cox was like, you all are acting like fucking children. Sorry, Matt Murdock was like, you're all acting like children. Be adults for 8 seconds. That was great. The cat's wanting to come inside.
Wanting to come inside. You're gonna let him in. I thought the bits where they had the characters playing off each other were by far the strongest. Whenever they had like solo moments, most of it kind of broke down, except for like probably Daredevil's solo moments, because his solo moments are actually kind of cool.
And his characters are really well formed. I think that's the
Yeah.
thing. Is like a lot of the characters in Daredevil, they just brought straight across. I think the biggest weakness was they got Foggy in, because he's one of those characters that he isn't very good. He's not very good in season 1, and he's just kind of a wet rag.
He's a bit of a wet noodle.
And his new haircut's really dumb. So
I never really liked him in Daredevil.
I would have preferred Karen be the central character from Matt Murdock's past, because their relationship or their potential relationship is more interesting than anything that's ever happened.
I think the
Foggy.
problem with that is then you literally have every single character that has
and their girlfriend.
just like opposite gender. There's main character, opposite gender. So
everyone brought their girlfriends.
everyone brought their girlfriend or their weird roommate person who wasn't really their roommate.
Hey.
Their assistant or whatever.
Well, yeah, my favorite thing about Jessica Jones is that she just doesn't give a fuck. And they did a really good job in this. I think
you mentioned a while. Yeah, you've mentioned previously that you have a problem when they portrayed Jessica Jones as just doing Jessica Jones things.
Yeah, they sort of they opened one comic book and they're like, oh, she's a hard-hitting, hard-drinking detective. And
Wow, we know how to do that.
She doesn't want to do hero stuff, but she'll do it reluctantly. I thought this was a much better job where she was like, I'll do it because it's the right thing, but I'm not going to enjoy it. And I thought that was a nice... and even like...
She still has just Jessica Jones.
She does Jessica Jones about. But it's fun, I think, in this, in contrast to like... My favorite actually bits of the show were Matt Murdock and Jessica investigating together and just him being like, what are you doing? Like 99% of the time. And her being like, harden the fuck up. I thought the dynamic between them was so interesting because you've got this straight-laced Catholic kind of devil of Hell's Kitchen vigilante, and then you've got Jessica Jones, who is a career alcoholic,
also
doesn't really like doing her job, but also kind of a vigilante, but not really.
Not in the same sense.
She only was doing it for herself originally, and I thought the tension between them was like should have been a bigger part of the show, maybe.
Yeah, it was the kind of thing where they paired off the character, like in the sort of first few episodes, they paired off. They did like they paired characters off. They did the Luke Cage and the Iron Fist,
which was a great combo.
Oh, I mean, it's fantastic because it's the two, just their introduction. In their introduction was I think like the best
Oh
Iron
my
Fist
god!
dialogue
When
in
he's
the
flipping
series.
about and he's flipping about, kicking and punching him, and Luke Cage is like, "What are you doing?" He's
Well,
just standing there taking it.
even when they're talking and you get the it's really satisfying as someone who loved the raw, like, real Luke Cage and fucking hated all of the wushu bullshit in Iron Fist. Like, this show is perfect. Like,
Very
if you're
gratifying.
if you're the kind of person that really liked Luke Cage and hated Iron Fist, like, the segments in this where we have fucking Danny Rand explaining things, and every other character is just like,
What are you talking
what
about?
the fuck? And I think just the situations, especially with Claire, how you have, because Claire
She's
was
the
the whole
connecting
time.
tissue.
Yeah, she was the connection. So you have those stages where, like, Luke Cage will look at Claire and she'll be like, "It's all true," and he's like, "Did I walk into
He's
a
like, "This is
Looney
fucking
Tunes episode?"
dumb.
It's like,
I thought they did a really good job.
it's like, tell me more about that dragon you punched, you fucking weirdo.
One of the best scenes was when he has him tied up and Luke Cage is like reading the newspaper and he like leans forward. He's like, "So tell me more about this dragon." And Danny starts to tell him,
he's
and
just
Luke
like,
Cage just kind of chuckles.
Well, he's like, tell me more about the dragon, and he starts, so he's just like, I was
kidding.
joking.
Like, and I love that Luke Cage is like, "This guy's crazy. I'm just here to help my
Just here
city."
to fuck with him.
And one of the coolest bits of the whole show is that Danny is portrayed finally as the bratish, stupid kid he's always been.
Yeah,
It was so good.
And it's a weird thing where by the end of it, I actually kind of like Danny Rand as a character.
They fixed him somehow.
It's when you contextualize because I think in Iron Fist there was no.
It's a whole show of him doing it.
Yeah, there was no actual character that you kind of associate with who looks at the situation and goes, "Danny, you are fucking nuts."
Even when Claire does it, she pretty quickly
Even
is
when
like,
Claire does it,
"Okay."
she pretty quickly goes on the side, and even like the Meachums, like they, they're portrayed as going,
Well, yeah, their dad comes back from the dead, so I guess.
well, they're a bit funky, but
There's
like
some crazy shit going on.
Joy Meachum kind of pretty quickly shifts over.
They instead of doing what they should have done in that show, which was like,
like,
have any tension, everyone was like, "I guess so, Danny Rand, you are the immortal Iron Fist." It's like, no! Like, what are you talking about?
That's exactly it.
He's like-
So it's like, I guess so, Mr. Danny Rand, Immortal Iron Fist, Defender of Kunlun. And you're like, who let this kid on stage?
Yeah, it's like, someone please send him home.
And
He's clearly too young for
in the
this.
Defenders, every other character is just like, who let this kid in here?
Best moment of that whole dynamic is they're at the Chinese restaurant, and Danny's like spouting his mouth about how he's gonna get the hand and that they're, it's their responsibility. And then Luke says something really patronizing, and then Matt says something like really like trying to shut them both down. And Danny's like, "Stop treating me like a stupid kid," and Matt Murdock's like, "Well, stop behaving like one." And it's one of my favorite scenes because it's like everyone in that room, they wrote correctly for that scene.
Yeah.
There was some really dumb shit though, I feel like throughout this series, and that's why I found it so confusing, is there was so much bad stuff mixed in with the good stuff that I think that the good stuff gets lost in the back end of the show.
There are definitely problems.
And it gets stuck
problems.
Yeah, I think the trappings
Starting
of
problems.
Yeah, what are we structuring this now?
Yeah. Problems.
Problems.
Do the
Chapter 1.
title screen. Problems.
I'm not putting that in.
With a little like Tinkle Fairy flying across the screen.
Oh, a Tinkle Fairy? You mean like
Problems.
Tinkerbell?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one. No, I don't know. It just okay. So I really liked Daredevil season 1. Mm-hmm. Season 2 was solid, but kind of all over the place a little bit structurally, but conceptually really cool. Luke Cage was like kind of cool, but compared to Daredevil season 1, I was like, eh. Jessica Jones was like, not great, and Iron Fist was like, ooh, bad.
Iron Fist was
So they were taking a bunch of weird things and trying to fit them together into something that would work. And I think given what they had to work with, they didn't necessarily execute on some of the premises that they should have. Namely, you have the Hand, this organization with these 5 members, and you have the leader of the Hand, played by Sigourney Weaver, and rather than using the incredibly talented Sigourney Weaver to do some real legwork character-wise, like she could have been a really interesting villain, she could have been really sympathetic, you could have been on her side.
She wasn't very good in this.
But they give her a lot of screen time and nothing to do.
Yeah,
she just says very flat, earnest lines.
Yeah, there were scenes where it would be her and like Madame Gao like talking to each other, and like Sigourney would just own the scene, just like really just like outperform, pun intended, Madame Gao's character.
But then she would never do anything. And
she would just kind of like exist.
She would just say what she was supposed to say as a villain.
Yeah, and I guess they were trying to portray her as like, she wasn't like a fighter, and like, well, neither was Madame Gao. They were we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Like very much like, oh, she's the puppet master behind the scenes.
Yeah, but even like
she's the thumb of the hand, you know.
Yeah, I guess, but just given like I mean, you look at Kilgrave, right, from Jessica Jones. He doesn't throw a punch ever, but he's really threatening. Like he's a threatening character. Whereas I felt like in this, what you ended up with was Sigourney Weaver, who just felt like a generic kind of arch villain who she didn't really have any personality.
Yeah,
she just kind of
there was no like development. Like I guess
the daughter thing kind of, but they really just it didn't work.
So I have a real problem with.
We'll come back to Elektra. We'll get back to that. But did it? I don't know. It just felt like they gave her so much screen time and then nothing to do with it. And just why would you waste her? She's such a talented actress.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, even nowadays, Sigourney has never really, like, owned the show of anything she's really been in.
She was good in Jim Cameron's Avatar for a film that's kind of nothing.
Yeah, like, to me, that was her last, like, really big role that is memorable. She's been in a lot of side stuff, a lot of TV shows, I guess.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, like, she's no Ripley anymore.
Yeah, it is
a shame.
It is a shame. Because you could have done, like, she's threatening, she's very, like... You know, if you think back to...
She's a good actor. It's just she gets shit roles.
She just picked this, and I guess the script just didn't really give her much to do. And it's that kind of level of suck where they were so close to making something that was super duper cool with what they were trying to do with her, which is like, what if you do have this person who's this old and is planned this far ahead, and suddenly you get these 4 super people getting in her way? What's she gonna do with it? And of course, the answer is go after Iron Fist. But there was I didn't feel any sympathy. I didn't really understand where she was coming from, so they failed like villain school number 1.
The worst part is she wasn't scary because right off the bat she was weak. Like she was never given any time to be strong, and it's not like Madame Gao who came from Iron Fist, and like she was actually pretty.
Oh, she's also from Daredevil season 1 and season 2,
well,
so she's
clearly
kind of
haven't seen
the
those.
show a lot.
Yeah, so she's more sinister because you see her at her weakest point in this series, but you see her arc. You see how strong she is. She really peaks in this show. So at this stage, you're like, wow, Madame Gao's like insane. Like she's actually fucking OP.
And it contextualizes a lot of. So she's like controlling Wilson Fisk, who's the main villain in Daredevil season 1.
Right. Yeah.
And then in season 2, obviously, the hand's back. And it's like this similar kind of idea of like, she's this kind of puppet master, and then you kind of pull the curtain back, and there's actually these people.
She's in Luke Cage, isn't she? She's on the screen of Luke Cage. I think I'm thinking of Sherlock.
I don't know.
Honestly,
I don't know. I don't think
I'm actually thinking of Sherlock.
Wow. That really very bad
we're gonna
BBC
skim past this real quick.
Yeah, cut that out.
Yeah.
No, okay, so now
do you think about the other members of the Hand?
Yeah.
We may as well go through the Hand.
We will. All I'm thinking about now is how bad Sherlock is. Yeah, so
Mr. Ninja Boy.
Japanese guy?
No, the one who...
Nobu from Iron Fist.
Yeah, the one that's what's her name's teacher.
Nobu. No, not Nobu. Bakudo.
Yeah, you know what finger of hand he is.
He's the middle one,
He's that
dickhead.
One. Fucking worst character.
Hey,
I did not like him at all.
They also
I didn't like him in Iron Fist. Didn't like him in this. He seemed like a bit of a poncy dick.
Also a bit of a caricature, to be honest.
Yeah.
I will say this, though, and this was one of my favorite things. Well, not my favorite things, but I thought they did a really good job of this. The Japanese hand member, whose name I can't remember.
Who was the 5th one? Oh, he loses his head.
Yeah.
Good character.
Yeah. The Japanese guy, I thought they did a really good job. He just spoke in Japanese, and everyone responded in English.
Not a huge fan of that trope.
No, okay, here's why I like that.
Dude, I hate that trope.
Here's why I like that.
Pisses me off.
Here's why I like that.
He clearly understands English, just...
No, okay, here's why I like that.
Okay.
Fourth time's the charm, Ben.
Right.
That's a good thing to do in a TV show, because what I hate is when a character who is, like, clearly Japanese and likes speaking Japanese speaks English for no reason and for no context. This is a dude who's been alive for a long time. He prefers Japanese. They all speak Japanese. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
You say they all speak Japanese.
He's a Japanese guy who speaks Japanese to other people that understand Japanese.
The 3 words that Sigourney Weaver said, not very good.
No. But it just... No, very good.
I think the funniest bit...
It sounded like it hurt her to do it.
I think the funniest bit was he said, like, their motto in Japanese, and then she, like, responded, like, repeating the motto. And that, like, saying them next to each other just made...
It sounded like
it really just made it 100% obvious how shit Sigourney Weaver's Japanese was.
A grade 3...
I cringed so hard.
It was like a grade 3
He, like, said the thing, and it was, like, smooth and, like imposing. And then she says it, and you're like... it's so bad. Don't do that.
The director was like, "Hey, Sigourney, do you want to run that scene again?" She's like, "No, use that take. It was perfect."
It's like just do it in English. It would have been better if you just did it in English.
Don't have her repeat the exact same line right after he said it. He's a native Japanese
She said like baka at one point, and I was just like, "What are you, like some fucking weeaboo?" Sigourney.
Yeah, it's not good.
Why'd you do? Why?
I will say though,
you always were a baka. You my kawaii friend.
You it's friend son.
Let's move on.
I don't know any Japanese things. I guess though, what I did like about the way they dealt with the hand is that the mysticism stuff, while it was there, it wasn't too like, Oriental mysticism.
They didn't show us Kunlun, so.
Sorry?
Okay. They didn't show us the fucking.
Yeah, so we're fine for now.
So we're fine.
It just was like, I didn't feel like at any point it got on that borderline racist, like wushu kind of like.
No, it was very much like shadow organization.
It was like shadowy bad people doing bad things.
Yeah. To
get the thing. Okay, here's what I did dislike about the way that they dealt with that and the immortality and stuff. Aside from some of the kind of heavy-handed stuff they tried to pull in that they clearly had just thought of, because they only read the comic the week before they had to start shooting.
The dragon bones giving immortality for some reason.
No, so that's fine. I don't hate that. That's fine. Like, I don't hate that. What I hated was that they were like, okay, how do we get a threat to New York? The substance, which they thus far have had ample supply of, they're suddenly running out of, and the only stuff left is a dragon under New York, and it's also the same dragon, maybe that Danny had fought. Maybe, probably not.
No, it is.
Is it? Oh, so it's the same one. So here's what bothers me.
Which is weird. Why is it in New York?
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to the. That's to do with Doctor Strange. But
for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's all the same thing. So here's what I thought was weird.
I like Doctor Strange.
Here's what I thought was weird. We've had the film Doctor Strange where they make magic kind of cool and interesting, and it's not too like racist in its depiction of like how
it's very like new age magic.
Yeah, and it's like this was kind of the shadowy organization, bad people kind of magic stuff. We didn't really ever see anyone do any magic except for Madame Gao, but like even then.
She just had a high midichlorian count, okay, David?
Game theory. Madame Gao is Anakin. She is Snoke. Game theory.
Oh no! No, she is Snoke.
But I thought that was a good introduction to that. What I didn't understand is why they didn't say, hey, we've set up this street level, and I like that they kept it street level, I gotta be honest. Street level brawling people, they're the defenders. There was not a single mention of the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I thought was weird, like in the series. And the other ones, there's been Easter eggs, there's been shout-outs.
There's always been like mentions,
Nothing.
like, the event.
Very odd.
The thing. Get your Avengers DVDs.
Yeah, it was very strange that there was nothing at all in this. And I think that's because...
good.
No, okay, here's why it's bad. Because what you need to do is you need to hang a lampshade on the fact that...
Okay, David.
We're just going to go at you now.
Why is it bad?
Because you need to hang a lampshade on the fact that they didn't just call the Avengers, right? Because these aren't people that know the Avengers details, right? But... given the...
Did they have time, though? Did they have time to think and be like, let's call the Avengers? The NYPD isn't going to do that.
Dude, Iron Man can get there in like 8 seconds.
Wait, where was Spider-Man?
He's still...
in New York.
He's still...
Still a kid?
No, he hasn't... He's still 2 years younger than Spider... This is... Spider-Man happens 2 years after now.
Okay.
In the timeline,
right.
Theoretically. No one's been able to work it the fuck out because they really goofed us on when the event was. But yeah, so Spider-Man takes place...
Well, this stuff all happens pretty much
directly after
Luke Cage gets out of jail.
Yeah, so that was...
It's a few years.
Yeah, so this is happening either...
after Luke Cage.
Yes, so it's either just before Spider-Man. Yeah, so it's just before Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's just before Infinity War. So the Avengers are still... Oh, no, okay, that's why they weren't there, is because of the Sokovia Accords were still in the process of happening, and they're all kind of vigilantes and stuff still.
Okay.
They're still outlaws and stuff. So that explains it, but they don't ever mention that.
Good job, David.
I worked it out, but that's because I spent a lot of time thinking about this shit. Like,
this is suddenly a video essay on the timeline of the Marvel
film theory. Spider-Man is the same time as Infinity War Alternate Dimension. Tobey Maguire's coming back. Fuck, I want to see a Spider-Man film where they get all three back in like a dark shadow dimensions. What are they called? Spider-Man Webs Dimensions of Dark Shadows.
Oh, that one we played?
No.
No. Yeah, it's Dark Dimensions.
Yeah, whatever it's called. I want to see Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland Spider-Maning about together.
I don't want to see Andrew Garfield.
So good.
Get out of here.
He's so handsome.
I don't like you.
No. Look, I think... yeah, no, you're not wrong. They just needed to do something with it or completely forget about the... But the problem is the whole time I couldn't forget they were in the MCU, so I was like, where is everyone? Why isn't someone going to help them?
Yeah.
Any mention of, like, there's a costume dude, like, running around New York... who's given up his costume. Daredevil's temporarily retired so that he can prove to Karen that he doesn't need it, maybe? Which is a weird resolution to...
even like moments where, it was like all four of them, like I don't know how I would feel, but you'd expect... So it's probably on the cutting room floor, but there would be a character be like, what is this, some kind of Avenger squad? And they're all just like,
What is this? Defenders?
I was waiting for that. I'm very glad it did not happen.
Yeah,
I was waiting for it so I could get angry at it.
Didn't happen.
I'm glad it didn't happen.
I think yeah, I mean, in Thor, in the trailer, we've seen Thor be like, I'm getting a squad together, just like the old days, which is a fun one. But I think in this, if they'd done that, it would have been kind of weird. I guess to me, though, Matt Murdock's kind of portrayal in this was as solid as it could have been with the poor writing. But I think...
I thought it was really good.
His treatment... Well, it's because you haven't seen Daredevil. It's like it is good, but it's not anywhere near as good as it could be. I think the treatment of his kind of dealing with Elektra's death was weird. Like, Matt Murdock's not the kind of character who...
When did she die?
So she dies at the end of season 2 of...
Okay, so it was recent.
Daredevil. Right. Yeah, and I thought it was weird that they had him then kind of hang up the cowl so that he could then be with Karen. Because in Daredevil season 2, they kind of start getting together a bit. It's kind of weird. Because then she finds out he's Daredevil, and it's all a bit weird. But in this, I feel like all of that lost its nuance, and Matt was just sad that Elektra was dead.
But also back.
But blamed himself, but then couldn't stay away, instead of what it should have been, which is that, like, some kind of complexity there, which is like... He's back, and he's been doing daredeviling, but he's kind of got this hanging over him. Maybe he's more violent than ever, or he's less violent than ever, and, like, any kind of complexity there would have been interesting. Instead, they were like, a bad thing happened, so he's not going to do it anymore. And it's like, just give me something more. And then even, the treatment of Elektra, which we'll get to in a second, because it's a good pivot. But I think in season 2, when she dies, you don't go, oh, Matt's feeling really guilty about this. You go, oh, fuck, she's dead. That sucks, right? And then coming into this, for some reason... Matt's supposed to feel bad? Because it wasn't his fault, though. Like, it's just a weird...
Well, no, thing. She died in his arms. It's 100% his fault.
It's not... Yeah, it's just
what
weird.
Makes it his fault is that she died near him, so it's his fault. That's
it's just weird. And then, I feel like at the end there, she just kind of became a villain. Like, she went from being a character to a villain.
Yeah, she just became evil. And, like, even at the very, very end, where you're like, what is your motivation, woman? Like, you just...
Also, what was their plan? Were they just going to fight and die down there?
At the end, she was just like, oh, we're going to be together forever. And it's like, I don't know where you're going with this. Like,
also, you're not. You'll just be dead.
Well, I think that's what she was implying. But also, it's like, she's like, oh...
But he's Catholic and she's not, so I don't understand.
Like, I've wanted to be with you ever since I saw it. It's like, then why all this?
Yeah, to be fair...
You could have just not...
You could have just not fought me, and we could have... I guess, she wanted to stay alive, and I get that. But, like... You do need the substance because you brought back to life, so you do need that to keep living. So she was going to die anyway. So why did Matt even stay? I guess he had a death wish at that point?
Yeah.
Then where did that come from?
I think he was just making the noble sacrifice.
But he doesn't need to. He's Daredevil. Like, he's
Maybe
Catholic.
he was like, I'm going to make sure that they all die down here by dying down here with them.
Actually, when you put it like that, that makes a lot of sense. But he didn't say that.
He was doing.
What I did like, though, is that...
he said to Danny...
Protect my city.
I think I would have liked Iron Fist more in this if he'd worn a fucking costume. I don't know why. I know it's an aesthetic thing, but like it would have helped if at the end of this he's just wearing a tracksuit at the end of this. Put on the Iron Fist costume. Fucking come on.
I feel like of the two characters in this show that should have gone all out in the
definitely
costumes,
Iron Fist.
Daredevil and Iron Fist.
I'm Danny Rand, the immortal Iron Fist. Yeah, we can see that from the outfit.
You're like, yeah, we can see that from a mile away. You bloody yellow boy.
I do.
Is it yellow?
Yeah, it's yellow.
It's yellow.
I did like how dumb I hated it, but I also thought it was like accurate of like when Iron Fist and Daredevil. So fuck, I keep mixing them up. Iron Fist and Elektra, they're tangling underground, and because Danny's actually not a very good fighter, even though he's supposed to be the best at martial arts in the world.
Who? Iron Fist and
Elektra.
Where?
They're underground. She's trying to get him to open the door.
Oh,
she just straight goofs him and like gives him a good old bamboozle.
Man,
and
I fucking hated all those fights.
And I was like, dude, why did you use the fist? You knew that she needed the fist. Just don't use the Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Just don't use it. And also, why wasn't Danny's Iron Fist like amazing in this? They should have been like, yo,
permanently on.
Use it. Well, he can't. He runs out of that
chi.
Good chi. But he could. At the end of season 1 of Iron Fist, he punches the ground and takes out a whole room full of dudes. There's like 50 ninjas, and he's just punching dudes normal.
No, dude, they're ninjas.
Hit the ground, bitch.
They would avoid
Puff in the air. It was a fucking dope ass scene. I want to see that
again.
again. I know they spent the whole CGI budget on it. But...
So, that's another thing.
Yeah.
So the fighting in this.
Oh, it's not good, Bam.
It really, really could have been better. I mean,
It's as bad as Iron Fist.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
Except
and
for the few Daredevil scenes where clearly Charlie Cox is really good at doing that.
It's the early episodes, because it opens with Iron Fist. Like you're like, okay, the fighting sucks, and then you get like a good like Daredevil punch up, and you're like, oh, save me.
There's a
Sweet
bit,
Jesus.
him fighting Elektra. Anytime he's fighting Elektra, I'm like, this is good.
It was really good
Because that's just beating him to a bloody fucking pace.
I think
and I love
the big old final fights at the end in the dark environments. I think, and I kind of like had this thought before why like some of the fighting was really hard to follow is because when you have just like when you have just Iron Fist, you expect a lot of punchies and you expect fists to go around.
Yeah,
and it's very quick and snappy. And when you get like was it Luke Cage, you get, you know, whenever someone is flying through the air, you know Luke Cage has caused someone else to fly through the air because he is Luke Cage.
But he also his classic move is to pick someone up and just throw him on the ground.
Yeah. Or in this show, it's like if someone's kung fuing, you're like, that's either a ninja or Iron Fist or Elektra or Daredevil or
any of the members of the Hand
or any other Hand or like Sigourney Weaver apparently in one scene, and you're like, okay, so that's like 7 people. And it's like, what if someone's flying across the room? Who caused that?
Jessica,
Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Madame Gao,
Iron Fist?
Luke Cage, Iron Fist. And it's like who's jumping out of the shadows? Elektra, like
it very much is that.
It's really hard to follow because those clues of like that character's doing the character thing. It's just like there's so much sharedness between them.
But you can get away with that sharedness if you make them discreet in their combat, and then
even when
and their coloring. So you don't have Danny Rand and Jessica both wear black.
Even when they were like going down the elevator, and Luke Cage is like, I have a plan. I was like, oh, they're going to do some character stuff because he has a plan. And like, it's like Jessica Jones and the thing. I was like, she's going to be the mouthy one. And it's like, what was the plan? It was just, don't be on the elevator.
I was expecting something. I was expecting
Luke Cage to come through a wall and Daredevil to hear it all. Like,
well, you know what I was hoping was that she would come down and start like smack talking and whatever.
Yeah.
Matt Murdock's singing up behind him, taking dudes out in the darkness.
And
Iron Fist is like waiting up the top, hanging in the rafters.
Well, he was being
Luke
held.
Cage like barrels through a wall, and they all go to fight him, and he just stands there and takes all the bullets.
They just kind of
Iron Fist drops down with his Iron Fist and smashes the ground, and it all goes up. And you're like, they took out 50 fucking ninjas.
But then it's just like, surprise, we weren't in the elevator.
It's just they punch for a bit and then play rap music. That's what it was.
No, they punch for a bit, and the fight scene's really boring, and then the rap music starts, and the fight scene's really good.
Yeah, it is really good when the rap music. But like, make it all like that. Make it all like that. I think there was one scene that I didn't think was as bad. It was still not good. Was in the car park fight with Madame Gao and the other bloke, where Colleen just goes to town and does some work with her sword. I thought she did a really good job in this. She's always a really good actress, though. Like, everything she's in, she fucking nails. Yeah. She's so good in Game of Thrones. Like, she's such a good, talented person. She should be in, like, everything.
I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Fine, don't worry about it. It's not good anymore. Don't worry. It's lost all its complexity. That's a whole nother... I can't...
We're not doing an episode.
No, we're not doing that. Because you'd have to watch 8 seasons or have 6 seasons or whatever.
7 seasons.
7 seasons. But I think...
7 came out.
Yeah, I think to me, the fundamentally, the issue with a lot of the treatment of the characters in this isn't that they missed the mark entirely. That would be fine if it was just... They were just like, different, wrong. It's that they're close enough that they clearly understood what they were trying to do. They just couldn't do it. Like, the execution just wasn't there, which is buck wild to me, because you have Daredevil Season 1, and you have people involved in that who are still working on these TV shows, and just get the choreographers back. Just call them up and be like, yo, fam.
Can you do this fight scene for us? Cool, thanks.
And, you know...
Let's get that hallway fight, version 5, because
they did that for a bit.
For about 5 seconds, and then there was a cut. And
there weren't enough really good long shots in this that really characterized.
Well, they've started doing they do long shots, but they do so in Daredevil, the long shots are broken up by that thing where they switch the perspective. So in the hallway fight scene, there's about 2 of them where there'll be like a character or like a baddie, and the baddie will be like running up the hallway, and the camera will pan up and then pan around and follow.
Yeah.
And they'll do a cut there because they need to do cuts.
But it looks like a one take.
Yeah, it looks like a one take. You get that flow of like it's always the same. It's always baddie running up to the screen, camera panning,
and it kind of gets stuck on the wall,
and then getting stuck on the wall, spinning around.
Yeah.
And then more fight.
And
scene.
it's very cool.
It's very nice because if you only do it twice,
you don't
really notice it. They did it like every 5 seconds in the big fight scene at the end, which they tried to make a one take. They did it like 7 times.
It was
and it
really
just
noticeable.
got annoying.
And it looked so a few points they did it with pillars instead of moving objects, so it looked even worse.
It's even worse. And I'm like, I don't want to look at the pillar. Look at the fight.
Also, here's what you do, right? And that's a big sequence that you need to somehow get. Also, like that's a lot of stuff happening at once, right? So you have them take out a bunch of the ninjas. Then you've got your 4 defenders. You've got a few of the hand left.
Yeah.
And you do long single take, really cool fight. Stuff happening, then you have the defenders employing their various abilities,
doing their
to help
character
solve
things.
things, doing the character. Danny uses the fist. Luke Cage takes some bullets.
Jessica Jones drinks some alcohol. And
Jessica Jones does a shot of vodka,
pulls the flask out. Yeah,
punches a guy right in the nose.
Yeah.
And
Daredevil continues not being able to see anything.
Daredevil is blind. But like you use those characters and you use the tools they have, right? Like you have Daredevil use his grapple stick things and do something cool with it. He used it once. He
uses it once.
Everyone was like, "Oh, that's cool," and it's like, "Yeah, we didn't get to see it again though." Like,
he uses it once to choke a dude out, and then wants to
use it again.
Swing in like a spider boy.
Why didn't we ever see that again? Like it's cool, but there's an underwhelming lack of utility of the available assets they had to make this good, and I don't know why.
Luke Cage only bends a weapon once, and it's not even a gun.
I want to see him.
I want to see them where he goes up to pistols and just crushes them. Like
I want to see that. I want to see him pick up a car door and throw it.
Yeah.
I want to see Jessica Jones just throwing dudes through walls
and drinking.
Drinking all shit. They did a good job of this in not making her too gotta be drinking all the time. It was incidental. It was fun when it happened, but it wasn't like she's always having a drink.
Yeah.
I think they did a better job of this, ironically, in this than Jessica Jones of making that work. Because in Jessica Jones, they were just being a Jessica she's always got a drink in her hand. It's like, yeah, but she wouldn't. That's not how alcoholics work. She wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
It's just kind of lazy. Whereas in this, they were like, she's an opportunity drinker. Which I
yeah.
I thought it was weird that... So there's a really cool scene when they come back she comes back to the restaurant and smashes through with the car and knocks Elektra out, right?
Oh,
that's a cool scene. And
did
the fights...
throw the car?
I fucking hope so.
I think because she wasn't in the car.
Hope so.
I think she threw the car.
But here's what I'm gonna say.
It's very strong and intimidating.
This is systematic of everything that's wrong with this show. Yeah. She throws the car, we don't see it. The episode ends and it starts with half of the bad guys defeated and we don't see it.
Yeah.
The best stuff in the show doesn't happen on screen.
Yeah.
Or if it does, it's not good.
When a lecturer is going through her training montage, I'm having such a fucking hard time.
We have the world's worst bottle opener.
Yeah, can you get me a better one, David, please?
Didn't I leave it on the bench?
I don't know if you did. During a lecturer's montage, I was making the joke where they send one guy against her, right? The guy with the staff, and she beats him. I was watching it with Laura, and I was just and then after that fight, I was just now for your next trial, fight 3, and then it was 3 of them. I was like, that was a joke. And I was just now
6.
fight 5. And it was 5. I was like, what? And I was like, now fight 7. Surely they would do it a 4th time.
That's what they did.
No, they sent in 7. I was like, and then it was now fight 20 with swords. And I was like, okay, whatever. It's the final one. And then they turned the lights off.
Yep.
And I was like,
dumb.
Wow.
I will say this, though. Wow. This is what's weird to me. And all the shows struggle with this. Save Daredevil. Pretty much. Jessica Jones less so. Because there's less fighting in that. Luke Cage has this problem. Okay. That different characters will just not use their powers for no reason because the fight needs to be interesting.
Yeah.
One of the coolest parts, I've said this so many times, one of the best fight scenes committed to cinema or TV ever lasts 8 seconds, if that, and it's in The Dark Knight, and it's Bruce Wayne, the Joker's in the penthouse, he's got everyone held up. Bruce Wayne's going to get into the bat costume, and he's walking through towards a panic room where he can get an elevator down to the Batcave. And he's walking through, and one of Joker's thugs pulls a gun on him, and he's like, stop where you're going. And Bruce Wayne, without breaking stride, takes the gun, knocks the guy out, and takes the gun apart and drops it. Yeah. Without breaking stride. It's 8 seconds tops. And it's brilliant because it tells you everything you need to know about that character the way that he fights, the way he behaves, what his motivations are, his skill set, his interests, and his focus. He doesn't even stop walking. He just goes, right? It's not like he doesn't stop to showboat and like punch the guy in the knee and then punch him in the neck and then throw him on the ground. It's just bang, bang, bang.
The window, yeah.
Yeah, bang, bang, he's down. And that's like a really very strong characterization, good fight scene. I wanted more of that in this. I wanted to see like someone goes to fight Jessica and she just grabs him and just like puts them through a wall.
Yeah.
Or just like, in the show, she'll just grab someone and just like apply their face to a metal object to knock them out.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I want to see like when you fight Luke Cage.
I want to see her main move just be like, bonk.
Yeah, or
just going through just like donk, donk, donk.
Yeah, just slamming guys to the ground.
Just dunking people.
And then Luke Cage, he loves
just
a good
dunking people.
He loves a good dunk. And then I wanted to see
Iron Fist, just dunking people.
Well, Iron Fist should be this kind of because
Daredevil just dunking people.
Daredevil's very flippy and kind of athletic and like dodgy. I want to see Iron Fist move through these people like water. Like I want to see him kind of carving through groups of ninjas like it's effortless with this genius kung fu where they'll go to punch him and he'll sort of swirl around them and then grab them and knock them out very quickly and kind of keep moving and doing that.
Yeah, very
and then
flowy.
Daredevil's very like bang, 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 flip, 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 ping, ping, ping.
Yeah.
And very like kind of athletic and bouncy and aggressive.
Even
whereas
that would have helped sort of the differentiation between the characters.
and then you can see it, right? Because Daredevil's doing a lot of flips, and then Danny Rand is very smooth. He makes it look effortless all the time.
Yeah.
And then when he does get challenged, which again, this would have worked if the Iron Fist show was any good.
the light switch on.
He flips the switch. He has both fists. Give him both. Why doesn't he have both fists? I don't get it.
So he can go like her instead of going like her.
So good when he has both because he gets so many better powers. But like, and then you differentiate Jessica and Luke Cage because Luke Cage is very slow. He plods. Jessica Jones
so slow.
Jessica Jones is very like, she's very sluggish, right? She's kind of got this like heavy hitting slugging kind of like boom slow momentum, whereas Luke Cage is like start, stop, start, stop. And if you'd employed that just in like the characterization, the fighting, the choreography.
Yeah, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones would in that case just be Daredevil and Iron Fist just slowed down and stronger.
Yeah, and I don't understand why. To an extent, that did happen with Jessica, where she clearly had trained some more because her best friend had learned karate because she got attacked in the show. But
again, as Luke Cage said, am I the only one? Wait, no, Jessica Jones says it for some reason. Yeah, she's like, am I the only one who doesn't know karate? It's just like,
Luke Cage doesn't.
She doesn't know karate. She knows like a bit of judo.
Well, no, that's the joke. She's like, am I the only one that doesn't know karate? It's just like,
no.
It's like, it turns out
You're not.
Just you and Luke. Also, how good was Claire in this? I feel like she in the scene she was in, she did her best to make the script work.
In the one scene she was in.
She was in a lot of this, dude.
I know. But like you're just like in the scene she was in. It's like, that one scene.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that one scene.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job of just...
I'm glad the first thing that when Luke Cage gets out, they just bone down.
They get on that. They hop on that express train to bone
I was watching it with Laura, and she hasn't seen LukeAge. She was just like, "Oh, they're just having sex," and I was just like, "No,
That's
this
what they
is
did.
deserved."
Also,
like let the characters have this. You don't understand.
That's such a strong characterization of those two characters, but also like it tells you everything you need to know about them and their relationship.
Yeah,
and then they just act like a couple.
Yeah,
except he's a superhero.
Yeah,
and it's fine.
Was just like,
there's no like drama.
I was just like, no. They just need to have
They
sex.
just got to get it out
just let it
of that
have
system.
Like,
and that's fine. Whereas I feel like...
He was just like, he just met her on the street. I was just like, no.
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 They have had Bonetown on the way.
They have been through. They've been through enough. These characters need a release.
Luke Cage...
I advocate for these characters.
I want him to go to Bonetown. I will drive him myself. No, I just thought that there was a little bit they could have done with a little bit of forethought, and maybe they just ran out of time. You never know what the case is. I don't want to blame the showrunners.
Given like 8 episodes, super quick after Iron Fist.
I was thinking like development time rather than episode time, yeah. But it just to me...
then, Luke, how many episodes did Iron Fist have?
This was,
Iron Fist had 12.
It's all the same number except for this, which had 6 or 8 or whatever. Yeah, they're all the same.
It had 8.
This had 8, and everything else has 12.
12, yeah.
What I didn't get is that this is the one.
Episode.
This is the one that should have had 12, and the other should have had 8. I don't get it. Make the one where you've got 4 characters vying for screen time, the one with 12. Make the other ones that are already too long shorter. Luke Cage is 4 episodes too long. Daredevil season 2 is 4 episodes too long.
Luke Cage is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it.
We're gonna get comments. We can't.
You're gonna get comments.
No, you're gonna get comments.
I am the correct one.
It's fine.
Given the internet's perspective.
It's fine and it's good, but it's not great. I enjoyed it, and it's fine, and it's good, but it's not great. But that's why we need to end this episode, Ben. Do you have any recommendations for this week? I know that you've been cramming The Defenders.
I don't know, preemptively BoJack Season 3. It's coming out in like a week.
Soon, isn't it?
It's like real soon.
Too soon.
So,
I'm so afraid.
Watch the trailer.
Yo, dog,
They somehow managed to make
season
you...
4?
Season 4, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
They somehow managed to make you like feel for a character who doesn't appear on screen once.
I was already upset.
Also, basically confirmation that, yeah, that horse is BoJack's daughter. So...
Pretty much. Which no one was like...
No one was... I mean, they teased it at the end of Season 3. Were like, yeah, that's a daughter.
I want to see her and Todd have some adventures. I'm excited about that.
I'm
ready.
ready to hurt.
Ready to have your heart broken?
I'm ready to feel pain again. And I'm looking forward to BoJack just grabbing the pain needle and just sliding it in.
Twist that.
Just give me that pain.
Twist that pup.
I'm excited.
I've been... this is the problem, is I don't really have any time outside of all of this stuff. I think my recommendation for this week is actually one of our own pieces of content. We launched our channel trailer. That's kind of the start.
Shout outs.
That's a video that you can go watch. I won't say what it is, but you should go ahead and check it out.
It's the start of something.
It's the start of something. And also, as well, which I think is worth mentioning, we've been playing PUBG for a long time. We love that game. It's a very good game.
But a long time.
I have recently been trying to get back into Path of Exile slowly. And it's really good.
Oh no.
So if you want to check that out, go ahead and get on it.
Unfortunate.
And we do live stream PUBG every Sunday morning.
Sunday chicken dinner.
Which is Saturday night American time, so Sunday morning Brisbane time, Eastern Standard Time.
We're going to be getting some wins this week.
Yeah, we're getting actually really good at it, so it's worth dropping in. That's with
If you want to watch us get second like 3 times in a row.
A lot of times, yeah.
Come on over.
So go check that out. We have new merchandise up in the Redbubble store with our new logo. But where else can people find us? Benjamin and the show. Do the
Facebook.
DCMworks Social.
YouTube.
YouTube.com/DCMworks.
Twitter.
I almost said twitter.com/DCMworks. It's at DCM_works.
Patreon.
Patreon.com/DCMworks. Go check that out. I got some behind the scenes stuff up.
Out.
Yeah, I'll just mute your channel. Patreon.com. Yeah, you dying? Patreon.com.
Oh, right. I was just making a gaff.
Oh. Fuck, what was I even saying?
Patreon.com/DCMworks.
There's some behind the scenes content up there right now.
OTS.
Go check it out. We've got a new episode of OTS coming out next week when you're hearing this, so that'll be good. Its interface, it's very weird.
It's very good.
And it's very good. It's getting really weird, and I love it. That's all the places. I've already said the Redbubble. All the links to that stuff is in the show notes. If you want to reach out to us, #AFApod, or I'm at DCMIHatePie.
I'm at Literal Citrus.
And we'll see you guys next week.